Hello guys, it's Sendou here again. So it's another week, another time to make a new video. So I was thinking about, okay, there's this week, like what's special about this week, and I came to the conclusion that since we have a patch last week, we're starting to see some effects of the patch. We had the first tournament with the patch. So I was thinking I could maybe like explain some of my early ideas about the patch and how I understand the game currently. Of course, I say like it's definitely something of a topic that nobody is really an expert of. People constantly discover new things. We constantly get to understand the game in different ways. We rediscover old things and discover new things. But to me, I think the best way to explain this meta right now would be through a game of rock paper scissors. So rock paper scissors, well, I hope everyone knows what the rock paper scissors is, but if not, then this video will serve a double purpose when you will also learn what is rock paper scissors. But really, okay, so if you think about this situation here, what we have is obviously what you have to mention about this patch is dualists. There's so many that are good, like wow, like Emperors are obviously amazing. Like Emperors is like the poster child of this meta, really. But it doesn't end there. Dapples have their use. You see dapples everywhere. It doesn't end there. Glugas also, even Glugas, like it's if you want the option with Baller, like even Glugas is like great. It doesn't even end there. Dualist Cultures, this is also an amazing weapon. It doesn't end there. There's Tetras. It ends there, but really that's a spectacular variety of different weapons that are extremely playable in this meta. So to me, it's very much a dually meta, yes. But where we go from here is to think about, okay, like dualists. What is dualist strong against? Well, I'm a blaster man. Let me tell you one thing. Like playing against dualists as a blaster is a nightmare because they do this and you won't be able to hit them. Like it just won't happen. So that's definitely the biggest reason why dualists first. Like okay, you have blaster, which for the longest time since Splatoon 1, blaster was a popular slayer, like the slayer weapon you would choose in most cases. But then we have dualists, which is extremely hard for blaster to handle in some situation. And you know, dualists also paint well. Like it's not the most poor slayer in the world or anything like that, but it's definitely something that does variety of things well. And especially if you think stuff like Tetras and Emperors, like come on, this thing can slay if you can play it well. So okay, we have a weapon that does various things well. So in my opinion, dualists are the rock of this meta, right? They are the rock in many ways. But okay, what beats rock? Well, here's the educational part for people who didn't know what rock paper scissors is. Paper beats rock, and the paper of this meta, in my opinion, that's the important thing when you come to this channel. You might be exposed to my opinions, and some of them are better than others, but they're always genuine. So in my opinion, paper of this meta is Brella. And why that is okay, so basically what Brella does really well is that one of the original reason why Brella was overplayed was like it just paints it like the whole ground like super fast. Like you throw a cloud there and oh, there's a sprinkler there, and then you throw a second sprinkler there, and wow, like the whole map is your color basically. And to me, map control is something that dualists need to be performing well. Like I even see some Tetras run like a bit of ink resistance and stuff like that. Like you just need that map control to be able to deal damage with dualists. And even more important than that is the shield mechanism. Like this is, come on, this is like cheating. Like there's no way this is fair. But dualists are cheating as well, so you cheat them back. And to me, this makes Brella like the paper of this meta. Like it's not like rock, you don't see it everywhere, and there isn't so many viable forms. Like undercover is still more or less not a thing. Then the Brella is very niche, but honestly I think Splat Brella will just be seeing more and more play. It's a great option to have for a variety of modes. It deals with dualists well. it paints the ground. Like you probably see team comps with 2 Brellas do well, and so on. So yeah, I think definitely like Brella is still coming, but it's gonna come. Like trust me, this weapon is gonna come in and it's gonna come strong. But that makes it the paper of it, okay. And again, educational part of the stream. What beats paper? Well, we have scissor. And we're coming back to the original strong weapon in the meta. And that's gonna be blaster. So, why does blaster beat Brella? Well, honestly, I just think blaster just slays Brella. Like every time they try to do they sealed stuff against you, just like shoot over them and like bye. I mean, that's more or less it. Like blaster obvious weakness doesn't think as well as the previous 2 classes I talked about. But when you have a good blaster, like everything is just more or less dies. Like that's pretty much it. And especially if Brellas are gonna become more popular, then again you're gonna see more value for players who play blaster well. And I think with the recent nerfs to Rapid and Blaster, I think the biggest thing was that if you're good with blasters, they're still extremely strong in your hands. But if you are not good with blasters, that your aim is more like this, then yeah, you might have some certain problems with it. But for players who actually know the weapon well, it won't be such a problem. But what I don't think even these players will be able to conquer is dualism. Just because I talked about earlier, the movement is too hard for Blaster to deal with. You lose map control, it's too painful. So I think this is Scissor. So Scissor, we beat Brella, the paper, but we lose Rock, that is dualism. And I think Rock is like very good term to use for dualism, because they really are like the foundation of this meta. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not unbeatable like I talk about the Brella, but it's definitely what defines this meta in my opinion right now. So when we have over like too much dualism, we're gonna get Brella. If we get too much Brella, well, maybe we see more Blaster, who knows. Of course there's variety of weapon classes I didn't really talk about. Shooter is like a really big class that is like hard to talk about well. But to me, shooters, okay, they've been stronger, but still, like T-Tech, like not to be underestimated. I think those kind of like same things as, but that like dualism, but you know, it's just in some ways it's not quite there. You know, it doesn't strafe as well. It doesn't really have the kits in many cases. I don't know, like for T-Tech, I still think like the biggest reason why people play T-Tech over Emperors is just because they are like used to it since Splatoon 1, not because it's like better per se, but it does do some things better for sure. Yeah, like I think it's slightly better at killing, and it doesn't really have any fancy gimmicks in its sleeve, but it kind of, to me, it kind of exists outside of this triangle. So it still gets beaten pretty hard with Brellas, but at the same time, you know, it does reasonably well against any of the 3 classes that I mentioned previously. Backliners, again, in my opinion, kind of exist outside of this triangle. I don't think there's any crazy changes to them. You can run Jet, you can run Spatling, you can run Charger, like whatever fancies you really. It doesn't really matter. Of course, like, I think one interesting thing about Charger specifically, I think this is what Fuzzy said on his Twitter, that he thinks really like double Brella and Charger comp is strong, because you're gonna have situation where Brella is able to stall an enemy like with a shield, and you know, with good coordination, like Charger can take like 3 shots at that guy. And I think for sure that's true, and we're gonna learn more about this thing, and maybe we have more solid idea of for backliners later. But I think that's like still kind of like outside of it all, and it doesn't like directly affect the triangle we discussed earlier. And I think that's pretty much it. Like, I'm not gonna say like, wow, now you understand everything about this meta, because literally I don't understand anything, but I'm just trying to put my thoughts out there. I think one thing I should mention though is this beautiful weapon class here. I have over 2,000 wins with this stupid things. Like really, I've been playing this since this game came out, but right now it's really hard for me to say anything. But I think rabbits are just weaker they ever been, really, and it's mostly because of our Rock here. Dualis. I think Dualis, but also our paper that is Prela. Both of those are like nightmare to deal with this weapon. Like, it just doesn't work really. But I think what rabbits are good against is when you have comps that overuse inkjet. So I think it's rather good at dealing with certain inkjet comps. But really, if that's like 2 Emperors, then you probably still don't want it. So I don't know. It's kind of like weird weapon right now. I don't really think too highly of it personally, but it's there. It's there. For the specials, I don't think there's much to be said. Really, inkjet is the king, of course, but all of the specials have their use. It just depends on the map. It just depends on them, what you want to do, the mode, everything. So I think that's really what I want to say. Like, I'm not gonna say this like perfect explanation of the meta, but hopefully this at least like some thought-provoking. Even if it's like, oh, this guy really doesn't understand anything. But hey, you know, if you have your own idea, then put it out there. Like, leave a comment. Like, I'm happy to read some new ideas, and I'll keep playing and screaming and try to learn more about this game. But yeah, that's my thinking right now. And if you see me play Brella or you see me play Emperors or whatever, then really the thing is that there's constantly like new demands for what you need to do well in this game, and just trying to keep up with that. But yeah, I don't know. That's the video, and I hope you guys have a nice week, and see you guys in the next video.